Hello and welcome to our Zombie Wars series. This time we are going to implement level transitions from the shop to the overworld and create an extra level for our game. Let's get going. Before we start working on the level transitions, I'll show you the logic for the rest of the power-ups, and they are right over here. So here you can see two different ways to implement the power-up logic. Like here, you can do it the same way as we did with the health power-up. Or you can do it like this, like I did it with the speed power-up, to put them in the functions so that it's easier to see what happens in this event. So if we compare it to the strength power-up, well, yeah, first we subtract the strength from the strength cost from the money, then we set text to money, add 1 to damage, set strength to floor strength cost times 1.5, and so on and so on. But here you can easily see that we first call handle transaction for speed power up. So you can see that, okay, we do the transaction, so we lose money, but we get the power up. Then we improve our movement speed. Then we increase the speed cost, so the cost of the power up. And then we destroy and recreate the speed power up. So I think this is much easier way to understand what will happen in this. But of course, if you want to look them more closely, then you need to go under here and look for the different functions that what they will do. But yeah, overall, this is quite similar to the health power-up. Nothing really changed other than we don't need to set the health text when we do the strength power-up and the speed power-up. And one thing we forgot to do in the last episode is to set the money amount text to the money amount that we have. So basically update the UI for the money when we do the buying. Yeah, one more thing I need to say about the speed power up, like here when we improve the movement speed, the way we are going to improve the movement speed itself is to set the 8 direction maximum speed to the speed stats. So it can be found on the player, and here the 8 direction movement, here set max speed, and for the max speed we set the speed stats that we have right over here. And then of course we have to remember to update the costs of the power-ups on the start of the layout and check if we have enough money for the strength cost or the speed cost or any power-up. Yeah, I think that's all for the power-ups. There's one thing that we will do later today. So now we can go back here and start to implement the level change or transition between the levels. But first I want to make a wall or walls around our shop so it looks like we are inside building or something. So we can do it quickly by just inserting new object, and let's make tiled background. And well, I'm going to make it quickly, just have small texture on it. This one. Oh yeah, we need to make this 32 by 32 because our grid is 32 by 32, and I'll just make it really simple and we continue when it's done. Okay, here we have our wall texture, and then we can just wait. Okay, that's something weird. Oh, we are on background layer. Oh, and I know what's the problem. Our game layer on the shop is the one that is not transparent. So we need to set that game layer to be transparent and background layer the one that will have the color for the level. So let's put it something like that. And now let's change this to game layer, and then we can build the wall. I'm going to make it around the same size as the our viewport in the game. So something like that. And actually I'm going to make a small opening for the door. Like so. Maybe I'm going to change the background color to be a bit more brighter. Something like that. Okay, now we have walls around our shop, and next we need to add a trigger area for the level transition, and let's make it right outside of the door. So we again just make a new not text child background. Let's put it here. I'm going to make it 32 by 32, and not that one, this one, pocket tool. Make it yellow and put it there, and finally let's take off the initially visible parameter. Now of course we need to rename this, so the child background will be tbg underscore wall, and this one can be tbg underscore level trigger. Let's call it something like that. And now we just go to the shop and add a new event where we check if the player will collide with the level trigger, and then we just go to the overworld level, and now we should have working transition from shop to the overworld. And we can try to check it out. Buy one power up and then go to the level. Yeah, looks like it's going to work. Now for the overworld, we are actually going to do the same that we built the wall around the level. Like so. And here I'm going to leave place for the door also, but we can implement the door later. First, I want to make it that when the player dies, instead of restarting this layout, we go back to the shop. So it will be basically like the roguelike games will have their gameplay progression that you play. If you die, you go back to the start, can buy something, get a little bit stronger, and then try again to go to the end of the game. And of course, to do that, we go to the overworld event sheet. We find the place where we check if we die, which is right over here. Health is less than 0. And oh, I already have the shop level when I was doing some testing. This should be restart the level. We can delete that. And here we take the system, go to layout and the shop level and press done. Now we have everything working for the transitions between the overworld. Here if I die, we go to the shop, we can buy something. Let's get some strength, health and speed, maybe another speed, and then we go back to here like it should. And one more thing, actually, for the speed, because we are doing level transitions, we need to go here to the global mechanics and add this setting the maximum speed for the player in the start of layout. So this is for it that in the every level our speed will stay the same and not revert for the starting speed when we go to the new level. But next I want to make a transition from this level to the next level, and for if you want you can make many different levels for the game, and I highly recommend for you doing that. But I'm going to make the next level to be the boss level, so basically the last level of the game. And how we do that is, first we want to make a door over here. Well, I'm going to make it just cloning the wall and changing the colors right here. So something like that. A bit brighter. Change these. Yeah, it looks something like made from wood. So now we rename it to be door, and then we put it right over here. And of course for the walls we need to make them solid so that the player don't go straight through them, and the same for the door, like so. And now let's make a global variable that will count how many enemies we have killed, and then if we kill enough enemies then the door will open and we can go to the next level by walking to this level trigger behind the door. So let's jump to the overworld event sheet and make a new event. Actually, before we make the event, let's make a global variable. Let's call it enemies killed. Its number, initial value is 0. Yeah, everything is fine. Then we go back down here, make the new event where we compare two values. The first value being enemies killed is greater or equal to, well, for the testing purposes, let's make it 10 enemies, but it can be more so that the player doesn't right away get to the next level and need to have the progression of like killing enemies, collecting coins, then going back to the shop after dying by getting more powerful and then trying again. But for testing purposes, let's keep it quite low. And then when we have more than 10 or more kills, then we just destroy the door, like so. And for this also we need to add the check if the player touches the level ticker. Press done. Then we go to the next layout. And here we need to be careful that the shop level will be on top of the overworld level, and the next level we want to go is under the overworld level or layout, so that the next layout will go to the correct level and not to the shop. And now we can test this. Let's see if I can kill enough enemies. Oh, I just realized we don't increment the enemies killed anywhere. So let's find the event where we check if the enemy dies. Here, if enemy's HP is less than 0. Here we want to increment. So add to the enemies killed with value of 1. And now it should work. Let's try it again. That should be, I think, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we killed enough enemies. And we can go here. And of course, because we don't have the next level yet, this doesn't work. So the next thing we need to do is to add a new layout. Let's here. And for this, because this will be the boss level or boss arena, I want to add new event sheet for it. And I'm going to call it boss arena. And for the event sheet, let's call it boss. Like so. And for now, let's, well, of course, first, let's make this to be the background layer, and then on top of it, the game layer. And on top of it, we make the UI, so we get the health and the money. And finally, on top, no, we don't need anything on top of that in this level. At least not yet. And then I'm going to take the game level to be the active one. Then put the grid and quickly build a small arena. So basically it's the same as every other level. I just put the wall around it so that the player can't escape from this arena. And this time we don't need any doors, as this will be the last level of the game. And of course we want to add the player here and the rifle, and finally of course the bullet also, so that we can create the bullets. And finally, so that our player will work here properly, we go to the boss event sheet and we include global mechanics, and also we are going to include the overworld event sheet, so we get the shooting and everything. And now our player should work like it should. But okay, there's one thing I want to change still, and it's actually that the bullets don't get destroyed if they touch the wall. So let's make that here on the overworld. Let's add event. Let's check if the bullet is on collision with a wall. And actually let's make it so also, or the bullet is on collision with the door. So then we destroy the bullet. Like so. So now it should look more natural, that we can shoot through the wall. Yeah, but I think that's everything for this time, and in next episode we are going to implement the boss with a multiple phases. So that will be a fun one. So I'll see you again in the next episode.